Hey, grab that right there. Are you ready? Is you ready?
Ready.
You say you ready. Whole squad ready.
Ready.
Is you ready? Are you ready?
Ready.
Is you ready? Whole squad ready. We came here to see Jet. What you got? No, no, no. Not on my watch.
No way.
Hey everybody, it's three guys with three things from Family Night. Mike, you're up.
Well, Larry, I got to start with the rookie kicker, Anders Carlson.
Good place to start.
I thought he was the star of the night. I mean, this young man, the past week in practice, had his share of ups and downs, a lot of eyes on him, a big spotlight on him with the 65,000 fans. He was 8 of 9 on his field goals. He started from 40 yards out and was working his way back. His only miss was from 50 yards, and that was because of a bad snap. That one wasn't really on him. His last 3 kicks of the night, 51, 53, 51 again, all of them with room to spare. I thought the rookie kicker had a sensational night.
Wes?
Along those same lines, Larry, Tariq Carpenter, he even said it in the locker room. He felt like this was his best practice as an inside linebacker. He gets that interception off Sean Clifford during the live tackling period, right across the middle. One of those bang-bang plays, you got to get it. He picked it off. And then later on in practice, Benny Sapp breaks up the pass going to Dontavion Wicks, and then Carpenter again comes up with it. This young man is also contributing, too, on special teams, Larry. I mean, he's getting some run with these first-team units for Rich Bisaccia, a guy that I think the Packers saw a lot of potential in last year, starting to see him blossom a little bit in year 2.
Guys, I thought the Packers did nice work offensively, both in the run and the pass in the red zone. I thought they were very productive in the red zone. Play of the night, Jordan Love to Christian Watson for a touchdown, back shoulder. I mean, it was pretty. You can't do it any better. And that is three guys with three things. Have a good night. Ken, during the time you were playing soccer, originally then basketball, what's the biggest crowd you've played in front of?
They weren't even up to the crowd at the Dream Drive. Yeah, yeah. Even the fans at the training camp, yeah, I don't think I've ever been in that kind of setting before.
First there's family night, then there's the preseason games. Have you thought about playing football in front of thousands upon thousands of people?
I mean, every time we go into the Lambeau Field, yeah, I just look at the seat and I'll be like, come someday, yeah, every seat is gonna be filled up. Yeah, and everybody, wants to watch and be entertained. Yeah, so I every time I go into the Lambeau Field, yeah, I think of that every time.
How do you feel about playing the game for the first time, putting it all together, all the things you've learned and you've talked about? How excited are you for that?
I mean, can't lie, I'm very excited. My first game, I'll probably give all my all, that's how it has to be every game. You give your all. Like you said, the standard, you continue to follow the standard. Because that's one thing I learned in the outside linebacker dressing room. You set the standard and you maintain the standard every time. Yeah, so I'm excited to, get a feel of how it is.
It was amazing, honestly. All the fans for a practice, that really amazed me. Playing at Spartan Stadium, we usually get that for games, but that was a practice, so that was really just great to see all the fans out there just cheering us on and supporting us.
Was it productive?
No doubt. It's always productive, getting the fans out there with us because that's what it's going to be like in live action. And then just getting out there as a whole and just going out to practice and executing all the plays and everything, which is very important. That's what's going to, make us great on game day.
Jaden, how was your first line ball lead? Being able to...
I'm not gonna lie, I was a little higher than I thought, but luckily I got a little hop. So
How would you break down the hub day for yourself? How would you think you did?
I would say it was pretty clean. As far as like MAs or anything, I don't think I have any missed assignments. It all starts with that, just knowing the playbook and running everything right and executing. And I think I did that pretty well. So
What would be the final score if you had to put it on the board?
I don't know, but I think we took it to the defense a little bit today. It was back and forth.
It's practice at the end of the day. It don't really mean much. I just got to stack them at the end of the day. That's how I feel. I still made some mistakes tonight. Just got to, like I said, do my job.
So we're calling that second one a pick too, though, right? Because when
yeah.
he hits them, it stays in the air.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
2 picks for you tonight.
Yeah, 2 picks, same period, I believe. So yeah, I was just in the right place at the right time.
So it was a catch before the ball got loose. I couldn't tell if it was kind of like ricochet.
Yeah,
pick
nah,
or
yeah.
He had.
Benny hit it out for sure. Yeah, and it just landed right in my hands. Yeah.
Last year you kind of took it all in as a rookie. You had to. How different are you as a player in terms of confidence this year?
I'm in a that's kind of up in the air for me because again I feel like a rookie all over again playing a whole new position I never played ever in my life. So really just trying to do all these bumps in the road. Just trying to, like I said, just get better every day.
Do you think both units are on schedule? Like where you guys want to be at this point?
As far as the offense.
Let's say, yeah, offense and defense. You saw both today. Do you think everything's right where it should be?
I mean, not at all. I mean, we ain't even played a preseason game yet. So I mean, we still got a lot more growing to do for sure.
But at this point, this early, like I know, obviously no preseason yet, but do you guys feel things are coming along?
Yeah. I mean, we getting better every day. Like I said, I mean, we not complacent with anything. We always see the goal as to get better every day.
Is there a position along the offensive line you haven't taken reps at yet?
No. But it's an honor that they trust me to play wherever on the line. So I take it, as a compliment that they put me anywhere.
A year and 2 weeks in now, is there a place you feel most comfortable?
I would say, I played tackle in college, so I'd say I'm probably a little more comfortable on the outside. But I think all I need to do is get some reps game reps at center, and then, it'll come.
Talk with Jaden. He said the offense. You think won the day? Would you second that? Offense pretty pleased with how you guys looked, at least for 80% of the play.
Yeah, for sure. I think we did some good things. Obviously, very first play of the night, I false started, but outside of that, I think I had a pretty decent night, and I think that was true for the rest of the offense as well.
You can call that jitters, though, right?
I don't get jitters. Nah, it's just a lack of focus. That's all it was.
How was filming out as a whole for you?
It's always good to perform in front of the fans. So, obviously practice there's some fans, but you never really get to go out there and perform in front of the whole stadium. So, it's always good to have a full stadium under the lights and go out there and play football.
How cool is it to just run out there and see everyone? Of course, when you're in the locker room, you expect it, but then you get out there and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, obviously I was here last year, so I'm kind of used to it. But yeah, it never really gets old. Just going out there, seeing everybody. So yeah, it's awesome.
Obviously, QB1 didn't start the best, but how do you think he settled in as the night went on?
Who?
Jordan, sorry.
Oh, I think he did great. Obviously I don't really see all the throws that are made, so I can't really comment on, how I think he did. But we had a good 2-minute drill where we went right down the field, so I think he did pretty good from what I saw.
Jordan told us earlier in the week that it was frustrating that the 2-minute drill had not gone well for the offense through the first week and a half of camp. Is that something he expressed to the rest of y'all?
It doesn't really need to be addressed. We know, we see the film, so it was something that we had to get better at, and I thought tonight we did a good job. I think both groups went right down the field and at least got a field goal. So it was something that we were focusing on, and we did a good job tonight.
I thought today was a pretty good day for the offense. I know there's things to clean up on, but again, this is a pretty good day for the O. Just here to keep stacking them, man.
You've been through a family night before, but does it ever cease to amaze you, the number of people that were here?
Oh yes, it's the most unique thing I've ever been a part of. You know, just being able to have 60,000, 55, 56, 65. I don't know the number, but just to have those number of fans to come, you know, watch the team practice kind of just shows how much they care about this organization and whatnot. So I'm just grateful I get to be a part of it.
You have your daughter out here for this family night, though?
Yeah, I had her out here. I got to see her afterwards. She was asleep. But I mean, she was fine. Fireworks went off. She surprisingly didn't cry. But no, I thought today was pretty solid. But I mean, just looking forward just to keep that grinding mindset up and going. So.
We saw y'all enter the field with family. Was it a little more special getting to have her here this year than maybe it was even last year as a rookie?
Yeah, it's amazing because I mean I know right now she don't really understand it, but you know that's why we always have stories. So it'll be a great feeling.
How do you think Jordan settled in after, you know, a little bit of a shaky start, but, you know, ending the way you guys did, had to feel pretty good going into here?
I mean, I thought Jordan did really good throughout this entire day. I mean, he took the shots he wanted to take. You know, was really clean, backed up, really clean in 2 minutes. You know, in our move the ball periods, he was really good. Red zone, he was really good. So, I mean, like we would all say, I mean, that's our cue. I know he's, you know, willing to get better just like the rest of us here, so I'm glad I have him.
How'd that 40-yard touchdown on the one-on-ones feel to kind of get the day started for you?
I mean, it was pretty good, man. I mean, I was just, you know, all of us were getting warmed up on the field from offense to defense, coming off a really smooth warm-up, but, you know, just starting to get things going. That's just, you know. So.
Do you feel like you're on schedule? I mean, you're still installing a playbook, but do you feel like you guys are on schedule to be where you need to be for the opener?
Yes, sir, man. That's a great question. I mean, again, it all comes down to just, you know, just taking everything day by day and not just to get so caught up behind and also ahead of the game. So.
Going back to those one-on-ones, you keep drawing Jair this week. I mean, is that becoming a battle you look forward to?
I mean, yeah. Again, it's really important that I go against him. You know, and I feel he should feel the same as well. But I mean, just to have one of the best corners in the league, it's obviously an opportunity to take. You know, regardless of catches or drops, I get to learn from him, question him, be in his ear or whatnot. You know, just to kind of get an insight on how he may think on, you know, what receivers may do.
Jermichael Finley was a talented tight end and a colorful personality who came to the Packers in the third round of the 2008 NFL Draft out of Texas, a long way from Green Bay.
Oh, man, it was a crazy ordeal. Coming from Texas and being a Texas boy and then going to the University of Texas, which is a big city in Austin, I got that call from Ted Thompson and Mike McCarthy. I was like, Green Bay, Wisconsin? we going from hot to cold? And I got a phone call from a buddy. It was like, you better bring every Nintendo game you got because it ain't nothing to do here but play football. I was like, this is the best town for me.
You came out of school early. I mean, you were young, right? You gave up your last 2 years of college eligibility.
Very young kid.
And tell me about your growing pains when you got here. What was the biggest thing about being in a pro team now suddenly compared to what you experienced?
It was very difficult, surrounding myself with men that already had a full-blown family, coming in as a kid, getting millions of dollars. It was very difficult, and especially getting the hype and the accolades and you know what I mean, coming into the stardom that the Green Bay Packers is as a franchise. It was very difficult.
I want to ask you about let me take you back to one of the high points early in your career when you burst on the scene, when people outside of Texas started to know Jermichael Finley. You were the third leading receiver in 2009, but you had a breakout postseason game in the desert against the Cardinals. 6 receptions, $159, franchise postseason record for receiving yardage. Tell me about that game against the Cardinals, the Packers and Cardinals playoff game that went to overtime before the Cardinals eventually won on a defensive play. But tell me about your day. What was it like?
It was awesome. It was just hitting the stride, too, during the course of that season at the end of it, the 11th hour. And McCarthy came to my locker. He was like, big fella, we need you this game. So that hit me as a young kid. I'm like, let me tap into it. The head man came by my locker and took his time out before the pregame warm-ups and, gave me some love. And it gave me just that strength to go out and play my hardest. And, man, what a game that was. It was a big-time shootout, I just done what I'm usually doing, and that's playing football. 2
Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Kurt Warner was on his
Yes.
way to the Hall of Fame, and Aaron Rodgers will eventually be there. But so you had an inclination that this could be a big day for you, right? I mean, you were in the game plan.
Absolutely. I'm a big visual guy, so when I went to bed at night, I try to visualize what I'm going to do the next day. And I tell my kid that now, which he's in high school and on varsity, but I'm like, visualize what you're going to do the next day. And visualize all these things and score, jumping over people. And so happened, I went out there and put that onto the field. And, man, what a game that was.
I mean, offensively, it was incredible.
It was.
Was it one of those days where just everything clicked? You guys as a unit?
It did click. And the hard part about that is, and me being a tight end and a alert and a decoy sometimes for the 6 guys that we did have touching the ball within Greg Jennings, the drivers, and James Jones, it was hard to get the ball. So when Aaron Rodgers threw me the ball, I had to seize the moment and take full advantage of it. So that's what I did that game.
Arguably, Finley was one of the most talented tight ends in the history of the Green Bay franchise, even though he played just 6 seasons for the Packers, catching 223 passes for 2,785 yards and 20 touchdowns. 2010, you guys come into the season with high hopes.
Yes, sir.
I'll never forget the welcome back luncheon
Yes.
here at Green Bay, all wearing cowboy hats.
It was big time.
It was really big. You guys were one of the favorites going into that season.
Yes, sir.
But it didn't work out quite as smoothly as everyone thought. Some close losses early and a lot of injuries, of which you were one.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about that. And as you watched that team evolve into a Super Bowl team without all you guys, what was that like?
It was big time, man. Not my injury, but the way the guys and the way McCarthy as a coach got the whole team together, and he put it all back together as far as the injuries. We had 19 injuries that year, like a lot of injuries, and just not. We had Nick Barnett was hurt that year, middle linebacker, and it was just one of those years where it was just our year. With the injuries too. Also, I got hurt week 4 in Washington off of, a routine play, and injuries is going to happen. It's just when it's going to happen.
It's interesting, J. Mike, because you mentioned McCarthy, and I had learned some things in following that team. I've told people, and I tell them this to this day, that team does not win the Super Bowl without Mike McCarthy doing some of the things that he did, like what you just described, behind the scenes, to get that team over them. Because I think by midway through the season, with you and Barnett and 8 starters out, I honestly believe that team was starting to think, well, it's just not our year, right?
Season's over.
Season's kind of over, just not our year. But give me another example of what he did with you guys.
And the McCarthy, he was a guy, and he was a big game plan guy. If you had an injury here or I was out here, he was always putting a game plan together where we would succeed. He's a big time classroom guy, and that's what I respect about McCarthy. You wouldn't sit in the X's and O's on the field or whatnot. It's when the doors are closed upstairs within the organization where McCarthy goes to work, and he's a hell of a game planner.
And he's also he kind of has a way of, like most great head coaches, of just nudging you the right way, saying the right thing, coming in, patting you on the back, say, We need you, big fella.
And that's the thing he's done really well. And I call him McCarthy and Mac Brown. They are player coaches where they come down at lunch and breakfast and just talk and just sit by you, have coffee. I remember he used to come in I used to come in a facility and Mike McCarthy would say, "Big fella, I need to know what you're thinking today. Come upstairs and have some coffee." He was just that type of coach.
He's the kind of guy, I've told people this week a lot, McCarthy's the kind of guy you pull up, sit up next to in the bar and just talk. Maybe not even about football, you just talk. He's that kind of guy.
He is, and like I say, McCarthy was the guy in 2010 for us.
You had an interesting relationship with the quarterback. Tell me about that.
Man, it was I was that guy. I was very passionate. Really didn't mean any ill will, any flack about it. I was just that guy that really loved the game. And now that I look back in my back to my heyday, and I'm like, I couldn't shut my mouth. But at the end of the day, I love the game, and I worked so hard in the off season that it was just it wasn't. That was just me. That was my personality, and that's what made me who I am.
To get on the same page, you and Aaron often would meet Saturday night on the road before the game. Tell us about those meetings.
Man, it was pretty awesome because the thing about them meetings were they wasn't about football, and I loved that part. It was more about how you doing, how's your family, and I'll ask him, how are you doing, how are your family? So when we get off the field, and then at the 11th hour of the meeting, that's when we would go over steps. If he got 5 steps, I'm gonna take 3. We'll go over the steps and whatnot. But he was an awesome guy, man. He's a big time leader, and today I love Aaron Rodgers. I can't wait to see him.
It sounds to me like a lot of leaders, in the moment, when you're learning and coming up, he's a demanding taskmaster, isn't he?
He is demanding. Very very smart human being, and that's what you got to expect with Aaron Rodgers. And when we played with the dynamic crew we had. When you went on the field with Aaron Rodgers, it's like going to calculus class. You gotta do math and you gotta play football. So that was the difficult part with the McCarthy's, the scheme he had and the things he taught Aaron Rodgers. Because I don't think Aaron Rodgers would have been Aaron Rodgers without McCarthy. So, like I say, I think playing with Aaron Rodgers it's a difficult task.
Yeah, it's not easy. There's a lot of
demand
easy.
There.
You were coming into your own. You were having a nice career, and the Cleveland Browns game, Week 7, 2013. I saw the hit. It was describing the game, and it looked like any other hit, but you weren't getting up. And tell us about that moment in the Browns game where you got hit.
I thought it was a routine play. Me and 12 connected on that play tons of times, and that play, it was just unfortunate that the safety came down. I just tried to protect myself, and so happened I took that hit legitimately 100 times. And I took that hit, and right when I took that hit, I just went numb. The stadium went quiet. I couldn't hear the fans. And I'm like, holy crap, this is me this time. I done seen players get hurt tons of times and didn't get up. I'm like, no, I'm that guy that prays for that guy. I'm like, looking up in the sky, I'm like, oh crap, this is me this time.
Wow.
And it was one of those feelings where I'm like, oh man, is my career over? Instantaneously, just like that. And that's why I go tell guys right now, when you walk in this locker room or any locker room around the National Football League, this is a blessing. You know what I mean? It's any given Sunday now. Everybody's getting bigger, faster, stronger.
A blessing that can be taken away at a moment's notice.
And that's what I experienced, where now I tell my kids, I got all boys, that's what's crazy, is that every time we step on the basketball court, football field, anything, seize the moment, take it all in, because this thing can be taken at any time.
Let me ask you, from a business standpoint, you had, I guess, were you coming up on an option year in your contract or whatever? You had somebody around you, or you, decided, we better insure this guy.
Yes, sir.
And you had a $10 million insurance policy.
Yes, sir.
But the policy stipulated that if you ever set foot on the football field again as a player, the policy was defunct. Tell me about that situation. And was it had to still be gut-wrenching to leave the game, even though you knew you had the financial security, but to leave the game that that desire, that will, doesn't care about money
at all.
It's you know what I mean. So it had to be hard.
It was very tough. At the time, my agent Blake Barrett, my wife Courtney, we sat in the room that year before we even started the season, and I saw myself. I looked at a couple film that I had previous year before the year I got hurt. I was like, man, I'm playing reckless. You know what I mean? What can we do to put in place for this following year to protect myself? And so we started doing a lot of research, and we was looking at the Lords of London. And so I protected my ear, my fingers, my toe, my hand, all my whole body basically. And so happened I had got a career-ending injury, and that was the top of the Lords of London amount that I can get. So I was like, take me through the roof in the amount. Give me the $10 million policy. And so happened that injury happened that year that I signed that policy.
Wow. Fortuitous to say the least.
Whew, man, it was, I thought I was dreaming for a second. It didn't seem real. It didn't seem real at all.
But you still wanted to play, and you still checked out some opportunities, did you not?
I did. I went to the Seahawks with Snyder. And he was like, man, I know you. I know you can play. I know your desire. I know your work ethic. I know all the things you bring to the table. We're going to give you a shot. So I was like, hold on. Let me go get an x-ray and an MRI on my neck. And so I went to go do that, and I came back. I still had a bruise on my spinal cord. And I was on the treadmill, and Snyder was like, you're done. I was like, no, I'm not. So I went to the Pittsburgh Steelers and tried them out, and that was my doctor and Dr. Maroon. So you know the doctors, they have egos. It was like, I fixed your neck. Pittsburgh Steelers would love you here. So I went on my own and got my own MRI. I was like, I'm not healthy enough to play in the National Football League. So after that, I just called in and just took my policy.
Yeah. Wow. Still tough, huh?
Very tough. Very tough.
Today, Finley, wife Courtney, and 5 boys live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, where Jermichael started an organization called Elevate U, player development for kids aiming to make football and sports a career.
49ers. With protection wide open is Donald Driver. And he pitches it off, gets away, and is into the end zone. A touchdown for Driver.
Bring what you got. I'm going to the top. I'm going to the top. Are you ready? Is you ready? You say you ready. Whole squad ready. Is you ready? Are you ready? Is you ready?